Hey everybody, Corey here, coming at you with another knife review. Clearly a different setting. We are on the back deck on this brisk Saturday morning. Let's just get to it. This is going to be a relatively fast one. Probably more opinions than review. But today we are taking a look at the ever so elusive Benchmade Anthem. I say elusive because for those of you who don't know, they don't make these anymore. They haven't made them for years, and they said, we are not going to make these ever again. It's an integral, which means it's one solid piece of titanium. Well, not solid, it's hollowed out, but it's one piece of titanium. And that's part of why they're never going to make them again, because in true Benchmade fashion, they have stated that they're too complicated to make, and they can't get enough profit out of them. Because they're too complicated and they end up running into problems in the machining process, and then they end up spending too much money, and then unless they charge you $1,000, which I'm shocked Benchmade isn't willing to do, they can't make enough profit margin off of them. So in true USA made Benchmade fashion, they said, we can't wring you to death on this knife, so we're not going to make it anymore. And it requires a little bit of effort. Requires more effort to make one of these than a bug out. So we're not going to make them anymore. I have my own, that's the opinion part, we'll get there. A lot of people say this is the best knife Benchmade has ever made. And I can tell you, I wholeheartedly agree. Which is why it makes me dislike Benchmade even more than I already did, because the knife that the community has agreed is the best knife they've ever made is the knife that they say, yeah, not doing it anymore, because we can't wring enough money out of you. It's a real shame. I think it has kind of a Sebenza-esque profile. Should be pretty apparent if you just take a look at it. But to me, there are two really great things about this knife. One, that Benchmade needs to implement on every single knife that they make from today going forward. It runs on a coiled spring instead of Omega springs. Anyone who knows anything about Benchmade, whether you want to lie about it or not, Omega springs are flimsy, Omega springs break. I don't care if you've had your dad's Benchmade for 15 years and your Omega springs haven't broken. All day long, people are posting on the forums about my Omega springs broke. Where can I get more Omega springs? Are there more durable Omega springs? I don't like anything that has anything to do with Omega springs. And oh, by the way, I'm not biased just against Benchmade. If it has Omega springs, I'm out, regardless of who makes it. But the other thing that's really cool about this one is that it runs on bearings. And because it runs on bearings, you can really manipulate it with one hand, and you don't need to compromise anything. Now, by that, what do I mean? A lot of the Benchmades that run on washers, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of them, if not all of them now, run on washers, not bearings. Just due to the nature of washers, they're tighter, right? And the only way you're going to get a Benchmade to drop shut without having to shake it, really, is you polish the washers and you introduce some blade play, right? You have to give it enough wiggle so that it has room to drop shut because it's on washers. When you have bearings, however, you can tune this so that it has no blade play, but it still drops shut without you having to, do the flicky thing. So this really kind of takes away the issues I have with Benchmade. No Omega springs, and you don't have to compromise the integrity of the lockup or the construction to get it to drop shut. So people say it's the best Benchmade ever made. Again, I wholeheartedly agree. There's not a lot more I can say because they don't even sell these anymore. It's extremely thin, extremely slicey, very carryable, very usable. Best knife Benchmade's ever made. What's my takeaway? If you can get your hands on one and it's just your life goal, you absolutely love it, go get one. I think you'll enjoy it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. However, I will say it's a knife, okay? It is the best Benchmade ever made. It's probably the rarest or hardest to get Benchmade or most sought after Benchmade, whatever. So if you get some kind of enjoyment out of that piece, right? Ooh, nobody has them. Ooh, everybody wants them. Then you'll definitely love it. And at the very least, all that stuff aside, it's a good knife to boot. So I don't think there's going to be any regret there. For me, I now have a one in, one out rule. Long story short, these retailed for $375. When they sell on the secondary, they sell all day, right away, $500, right? So I told myself, okay, one in, one out. I wasn't planning on letting go of this, but I told myself, if someone wants to pay $600 for this, I'm gonna let them. And sure enough, I posted it for $600 and it sold in 3 seconds. So this knife is all but gone immediately at this point. And honestly, I couldn't be happier because it didn't get much use anyways, because they're so rare, they're so hard to find, that I literally never used it. It was just a rare piece sitting in the case. And that doesn't do a whole lot for me anymore. So away it goes. Now, if you're good to go on the review, thank you very much. I love you all. If you want to hear a little bit more of my opinion on Benchmade as a whole and what this knife means, this knife is very interesting to me, and it actually made me, because it's so good, made me dislike Benchmade even more than I already do. Because this knife is proof that Benchmade can put out an amazing product if they want to. And they quite literally just choose not to now, right? Because they have the blueprint for this, and they said, nope, we're not going to make it anymore. Why aren't they going to make it anymore? It's too complicated, cost prohibitive, and they can't make enough money off of it, right? I'm not entirely convinced they'll never make this again. I think they're going to bring this back and they're going to charge you $900 for it, and they're going to make 250 to 500 of them. And you know what? There are probably 250 to 500 people at the very least who would throw $900 at this. So do I think they'll make like a limited run? I do. I really do. Because in true Benchmade fashion, if they can wring you dry, they will. I just don't think I don't know. I'm not a manufacturing expert. Maybe they don't have the capacity. Maybe they don't want to retool everything to do a run of 250 to 500. I don't know, right? But the reason it disappoints me even more than Benchmade usually does is because it's literally a living testament to the fact that they could do this if they wanted to, but they don't want to. Why don't they want to? Because it's too hard, and because they can't get enough money out of you for it, right? USA, it's just really sad. It's really sad to know that, people talk about Benchmade quality has been going down year after year after year. And to know that they kind of have this in their back pocket and they just don't want to use it because they don't want to put the effort in and they can't wring their customers dry on it. It's really sad. I think it's a really bad look. I think it reaffirms everything I already knew and felt about Benchmade, which is they're just trying to wring as many people dry on bug out sprint runs as they can. And I don't mean to offend if you're into that sort of thing. If you love your Benchmade, I'm happy. I want everybody to love whatever knife they have, whatever knife they use. But it just puts a really bad taste in my mouth. People have been begging them to bring this knife back for years, and it's just an amazing knife. And they're just doing the most USA capitalist thing ever, which is like, nope, sorry, can't make enough money off of you on it. Which, look, I get it. I'm a businessman, okay? You got to make your money, but like, seriously, like the undisputed best knife Benchmade's ever made, and you won't even squeeze maybe a little bit less margin, or like I said, just bend your customers over like you always do anyways, and charge them $1,000 for the knife. They'll pay it. The people who want it will pay it. And Benchmade still they just don't want to do it. So whatever. That's my opinion. Best knife Benchmade ever made? Yup. Is it a shame that they're not going to make it anymore? Yup. Is that weird to me at all, given just Benchmade's history? Nah, not really. They're just going to keep making the bug out, and that's it. When they snap in half and their Omega springs break and people need a new bug out, they'll just go buy one. And I don't know, whatever. Now I'm ranting. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry I've been gone for so long. Got a new job, or time between videos is wide. I got a new job, and that's clearly the focus, right? Because the job gives me the money that lets me get these things. So there would be no videos if I had no job. So bear with me as I continue to kind of get up to speed in my new place of employment, and hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you all next time.